Okay, good afternoon all. I hope everyone is well. Okay, just incidentally, if nobody knows, you probably know by now, Apex have got an offer on which started at when the market opened yesterday, last night, UK time. It's 80% off, and also there is no minimum time to pass. So if you hit your target in a day, you'll pass the following day. So only 1 day needed. So, obviously 1 day, 3 days, however long it takes you. But if you do pass it quickly, then obviously you'll qualify for a PA account. So if you pass it today, your PA account, you get an email for a PA account in the morning, and it's 80% off as well. So it's the first time I've done sort of 2 offers in one, really. So as always, my code's down there, UQFT. If you choose to use it, or you have used it, it is appreciated. So let's have a look at this. Looks like we may have 2 legs down. I'm looking at the daily chart here, and obviously we had that big push up, and it looks like we're having a couple of legs back. So I'd say there's a fair chance that price is going to come down at least to this line, which looks like to be around about here. Wherever that is. Let me have a look. Exponential, how you doing, bud? Speedy, how you doing, mate? So let's have a look. There we go. So I'd say it's at least going to come down to here, which is how do I figure out where that is? Hold your horses. Let's try it there. Okay, that's better. So 47.42, which is down here somewhere below this measured move. So I think there's a good chance price is at least going to get to there. It looks like it's dropping down. Next stop is around here, so maybe 50, something like that. So I certainly think price will get down to here. Whether it does it this time around or whether we have a break and it comes down, not sure yet, but it does look like that's where price is coming. It's a natural place where it would sort of bounce. Whether it drops below there or not, I don't know. But I'd at least expect that before the end of the day to get down here. But that's looking pretty bearish at the moment, so we'll just keep an eye on that. So that gives us a bit of an idea where prices may get to. So I did have this like this, but when I reloaded my historic, it fitted because I looked at that, but I'm not a massive fan of that. We've had sort of 2 legs, not measured legs, but 2 legs, and we've broken these lows, so you just don't know. So I left that alone, but I have adjusted that slightly, and it pretty much nicks the top of there, and the bottom looks okay. So I think it's probably a channel there, and it did come down anyway. What time is it? Is the market open? Okay, market's just opened. I wonder why things were moving a bit quick. So 2 legs down here, so let's see what happens here. It almost looks like it's bottoming here, so I have to keep an eye on this. So I won't be surprised if we get a bit of a break. Keep an eye on this. So I hope everyone had a good day yesterday. It was okay for me. I think it was it $300 or $325 or something like that. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but it was an okay day actually. So I was pleased with yesterday. So let's just keep an eye on that. We got some sideways. I'm also looking at the NQ as well. There is a sort of second entry short there. We've got this channel down with a break, 2 legs up and a second entry short, which actually wasn't too bad. So I expect that to come down here. Unfortunately, there's just no entry there. It's too close to the lows to go short there. You can't go short there. It looks awful. And it does look clearer. So any of you NQ guys, you may have taken that one. It looked like 2 kind of nice legs back. Yeah, it was nice, that was, on the NQ. got a nice channel down there. We had a break, clear 2 attempts, and then a nice drop. If I'd have been trading NQ, I'd have taken that one. But it does look like 2 nice legs up and then a nice drop. So if anybody's trading the NQ, I think you'd have been in there. So let's have a look at this. So would I consider that a break? Not sure about that. Not convinced it is. Okay, so that measured move's clearly played out, so we'll get rid of that. Are we coming down to here? It's certainly looking bearish at the moment. You can't take anything there, really. I suppose if you were going to take something, that would be the better option, but I didn't like the bar. You don't know whether it's going to trigger you and push up after we've sort of, retested this. I don't know. This just made me a bit nervous about taking that, so let's keep an eye on this. But I think there's a good chance of coming down here. Certainly to around about the 50 would take us to the bottom of that range on the daily. So, Armanas, how you doing, buddy? Let's have a look. I think it's probably okay to just say that is still part of this because we touch him beautifully there, touch there, close enough there, touch there, touch. But I would, if we're going to come down to here, I would expect that to break before it came down. I just can't see that coming down there without having a break, in all fairness. Yeah, that's going to have a break at some point, I think. Okay, this to me looks where we're going to have a break. I mean, you may argue we've already had a break, but if it is, it's very slight, and I don't think it's convincing enough. It's not convincing me anyway at the moment. I'd like a proper break, a clear break, before we push down there for maybe, well, to get me interested, put it that way. Trouble is, you keep adjusting this and adjusting it. Where do you draw the line? That's the trouble. If I put it how I originally had it, it would be that. And a break, 2 pushes down to a new low, so it's got to be a bit careful there. It's negligible how much has come out, see, so let's leave it like that. Reason being is this is the NQ. We've had a touch here, touch here, touch here. We're at the bottom of this, so I expect this to push up, which would create a proper break on the ES. So that's what I'm looking for before I think about going any shorter than that. Yeah, that would take us to around about the 50, where the bottom of that daily, the bottom of the range on the daily. So I still think this is going to come down further. But I want a proper break and a really good looking setup before I think about going short. Jay, how you doing? Feels like a strong channel. Mac would sell a good bar. Yeah. What's looking bearish at the moment is the daily. The trouble is you don't know during this day, we could get a pullback, half of this, and then come down again. So just because it's coming down doesn't necessarily mean it's going to continue down. So I do get wary that we don't get a decent pullback. But I'd like a proper break, really. A convincing break before I go any lower. Going a little bit sideways there, which I suppose is to be expected down here. You know, we're not sure we're going up, are we coming down some more or what? I'd like to see a failed break out of this. Possibly 2 legs up. The trouble is, on the NQ, we're that far from the MA, and possibly this side of the channel, it could come up quite a bit. So I'd be a bit nervous about going short here because the NQ looks like it's going to go up. So that looks like a hidden second entry short, but I'd probably expect that to go a bit higher. It does look like it's going to. What do you do? What do you do? Yeah, see, I'll be very nervous about taking that short. It is a hidden second entry short. The issue I have is we could have had little breaks out of this multiple times. So that would keep me out of a short trade just at the moment. And as I just mentioned, the NQ is quite a bit away from the EMA. So this to me looks like it's going to take that stop out. So I dare say, without a doubt, there's going to be traders trapped there. But this, yeah, exactly. So that was a good reason. But I'll tell you something, there'll be some traders in there for a sure. Hidden second entry short, break out of this. But I left it because the trouble is, it could be like that, break, 2 pushes down to a new low, a bit of a decent pullback, and then maybe some continuation downwards. So there'll be some traders trapped there for sure. But it just got risk written all over that one. And the way it triggered a couple of ticks and stopped them out, rightly so. You know, I may take that out to there. That fits nice, but I don't know. It's one of those where it's that negligible, what do you do? And I've always had the policy that I think it's safer to assume it's had a break and we may get a decent pullback. And if you did that there, you may leave that one. I hope you did. But I dare say it is a really nice hidden second entry. I like where it is, but because of this and possibly this, I'd expect a decent break. And that little one isn't sufficient enough to get me interested in a trade. There's at a time I'd have taken that 100%. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to take that. It's clearly a hidden second entry short. It's clearly 2 legs up. It's clearly, it looks like a failed break out of this little range. So, but just because of this maybe and this, I don't know. It just... whenever I get that gut feeling now, I tend to listen to it, and it saves my neck multiple times, and that's one of the times well it will have saved me. Anybody take that? Did they? I don't know what the risk was. It wasn't a massive risk, maybe a couple of points maximum, I think. So it wasn't the end of the world. That's another good reason to have this chart on there, or to have, you know, whether you have the DAX or the Russell or whatever. This seems to be the sort of the one most people trade, apart from the ES. But this here is around about here. it's sideways, it's too far from the EMA, and it's too far from the side of that channel, if indeed that is a channel. So for me, there's a big vacant space there, which I think is likely to get filled. So if I didn't have that chart, I may have taken that one, but I've done this before. We may have had a break. Normally, you would have done that. You would have gone from the top there, and you would have done that. 2 legs down, a break, and then a new low. But you could adjust this slightly. It's just one of those things. So I think sometimes it's best to just assume we've had a break. I mean, I still expect it to come down. Certainly at some point. We're too far from here. It's a natural progression, I think, down here, just from what I can see. 2 legs down. We've come off the highs. The next bit of support resistance area is right along here. So for me, the chance of that coming down is quite high. Whether it does it in one go or whether we get a pullback at another bar, who knows? But we're not that far from it. What are we? 2, 4, 6, 8 points away. So whether we go below it, who knows? If connected, the top beginning of the overnight may work towards a bigger trend line. Yeah, I did look at that, but I tend to leave that alone sometimes. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's not far away, is it? Do you know, I go through phases. I went for a phase of constantly doing that. But the trouble is, as we were breaking, I was waiting for it to come here, so I was missing the smaller moves. So I think it's good to keep an eye on that, where it may bounce. But I think ultimately we've got to. I try now and just trade the smaller stuff, because we're only after a couple of points, and it's just these small moves really. And rather than waiting to come back, back up here for another drop. Trading the currency. Yeah, exactly. I think it's just part of it, Jay, isn't it? You try this, you try that. But what I find is when I look at charts like Marco's, he concentrates way more on the smaller stuff. And when I do that, I see more opportunities. So, if we were going for 10 or 12 points or something like that, then the bigger stuff, would make sense, wouldn't it? But I think you've got to do it both ways to learn, haven't you? But, every time we change or adjust something, and, we're constantly learning, and we're sort of adjusting our brain, aren't we? To deal with this. But yeah, the smaller stuff, otherwise, if I was trading this as a channel, usually you sell at the top, don't you, of a downtrend. So I'll be waiting. There may be a lower high there coming down, but I'll be waiting for it to come up to here. And sometimes you just miss it. We may have 2 legs up, lower high, failure, and then down, and, rather than sit and wait for there. So I think it's good to be aware of it, because if price does come up here, looking to go long around here might just keep you out, for obvious reasons. But yeah, the smaller stuff, I certainly feel more comfortable trading the smaller stuff. It's where the action is, I think, isn't it? And, I do seem to find more trades. Whether the market's got better lately, or whether it's me, I've just adapted to the conditions, but there does seem to be more setups around lately since Christmas. So whether it's just, the way things are, I suppose we have good years and bad years, don't we? But there does seem to be more setups around. Yeah, it'd be interesting to look back and see who got caught out there. Okay, so we've made a new low. So that, for me, that short there is a no-go at the moment. Another reason not to go short there is we're right at the bottoms. It may come down, but to me, that's an area that's oversold there. I'd expect it to come back up to here, at least to the EMA. So selling around about the bottom there is not for me. Although ordinarily it looks like a kind of a nice bar to go short, doesn't it? But you just don't know. It is stacking up a bit, so there's multiple reasons to not trade that. I mean, it might absolutely drop like a stone, but I took your advice and started recording with OBS. My chart seems a bit blurry compared to yours. Did you adjust in OBS? Yeah, it takes a little while to get it. Go onto YouTube and click OBS settings. And what it is, it's something to do with the bit rate that you set. If you go into settings, I can't really remember because it was that long ago. It was a year ago now I set it. But if it's something to do with, if you go into settings, you can set the stream settings and you can set record settings. And it's something to do with the bit rate. The higher the bit rate, the better quality. So but try and find something within the last 12 months because obviously we get updates of OBS. And sometimes things change. There's new bits added. It can be a bit confusing, but just YouTube it. That's how I learned. Just YouTube it and click on, just OBS record settings. But it is useful because you've got proof then. You can look back on it. And if nothing dramatic happens during the session, just delete it. But it's useful to have proof because at least then if something goes wrong, you can say, well, hold on a minute. Look, you can clearly see I did nothing untoward. I tried to shut down my position, blah, blah, blah. So it is useful and it's free as well. So, and you can get other benefits from, looking at your trades. I mean, you could even get a mic and chat yourself, talk about what you're seeing and, maybe you can see what your mood was at the time or, but it's definitely worth doing. Have we got another sort of channel here? We may have. But yeah, I'd advise anyone to do it just to cover your own arses, if anything, just to protect yourself. It's so hard sometimes if you've got a problem with Apex. They might go, well, it doesn't, it looks okay on our chart, or I've looked into your account and it looks fine. At least then you can say, well, there you go, here's a video of it. It's not the case. So it does cover your arse. But yeah, just YouTube it. But look at the relatively newer ones. But just some research, record settings. But it is something to do with the bit rate. I had to mess around initially just to get it looking good. Maybe this is touch. Maybe it kind of fits. And maybe a slightly bigger channel down here. Still looks like we're working down. I mean, there could be a pullback. If you look here, we came down in stages, didn't we? So, 60, we're only 8 points away. So, it does look bearish. I can't see anybody thinking about buying there yet. You'd be looking to buy around here, wouldn't you? See what I will do. Let's just put a line there like that, just in case we come close to it. At least we can say, if we get something bearish from here, I think it's useful to have something. But whatever you do, make sure you have that positions tab. From Rhythmic, and this as well. Orders or positions. At least that way, if something's open there but not there, you can shut it down. Well, hopefully. Okay, a little bit of congestion there. Trouble is, on the NQ, we're still right again on this bottom. I just can't bring myself to sell down here, although I'm selling on the ES. Trouble is, at this area, what happens? Pushes up. Same here, pushes up. it's a matter of time before we push up to the EMA, I think. At least the EMA. I can't see it going much lower, which tells me I am expecting the market to go up a little bit. So do you know what? I'm not even a fan of that at the moment. Might be a break and 2 pushes down to a new low. Okay, so there have probably been a few stops around there. People trying to pick bottoms, I think. There was definitely some buyers there. They're going to get stopped out there, are they? I just can't bring myself to go short there. Not when the price is so far from the EMA on the NQ. I'd expect an half decent push up. Okay, that's what I expected. So let's see how far it goes, or whether it does, because that almost looks like a bit of a bottoming pattern. We may get a decent break here. Yeah, so that's what I expected down the bottom. Same here, we push up. Same here, we push up. I expected that, at least back to the EMA, and it did exactly what I thought. So it is really useful having that, because if one's looking bearish and the other one's looking like bearish, but with a, you know, we're expecting a bullish mood. Hey Chris, how you doing, bud? So that stopped me getting into a short there, see? Whether it be there or whatever. How you doing, mate? So, are we plateauing a bit here with it, with a bit of a pullback coming or what? It's hard to say, isn't it, really? How are you getting on, buddy? Everything working okay? So, a break. Good, mate. Good on you. It is a constant battle, isn't it? It's constant work. It's a battle I think I'm starting to, what's the word? Probably get used to a little bit. So it's not having quite that same stressful, panicky effect on me. I do see. I tend to listen to myself back sometimes, and I wait a few months and listen. And when I'm in a trade, and especially after a trade, I used to sound quite excited after a trade. And obviously that little excitement, you know, changes your emotions a little bit. So lately I do sound a lot, he's still lately I do sound a lot calmer, which I think is a good thing, because it just goes to show those emotions when I'm in a trade may not be affecting them as quite as strongly as they used to. But I used to get quite excited and quite loud. So it is useful to listen to yourself just to see how you react, you know, in these different scenarios. Where you lose a trade, I used to go quite quiet, and then when I won a trade, I used to get quite loud. Absolutely, yeah. The thing is, when if you've got something physically wrong with you, you can see it, can't you? It's obvious, but when it's sort of going on in the mind, it's very hard to sort of see a change. You go down the gym and start lifting weights and lose some weight, you can notice it straight away. It's obvious, but as we're sort of changing our mind and adapting our mind, it's not that obvious. I suppose the only way you can see it is if you look back during your training, but it's not something you can look at and go, oh, you're this or you're that. But it is useful to look back and just listen to yourself. Let me have a look at this. Let me get rid of that in a minute. Touch. I think that's okay at the moment with the break and a bounce. We may just be going a bit sideways. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? That's as best as I can see at the moment. I can't see anything else works as any type of a what's that like? No. Just looks like a leg with a break and a leg, another break, and this is where the bottom of that range is on the daily. We're not far off it, so whether we bounce a bit and then work down again or not, God only knows. So it does look like it's going a bit sideways. I've given up trying to draw something. This looks to me about right. Whether it's slightly out in here, regardless, either way, we've clearly had a break in a new low, whether it's there or there. We've clearly done that. So whether we're going to mosey on sideways before we push a bit more, whether we're going to have a pullback, that remains to be seen. So possibly leg and a leg with a bullish bar. At the moment, I'm not thinking about going long. Actually, might not be the best form of action at the moment because on the NQ, no, I'm staying out of anything at the moment. I think it's a short market just at the moment, but obviously not at the bottom of here. If we get two legs and a nice bearish bar here in the right place, then that may interest me in going short. Yeah, it is. It is. See, if you'd have taken that now, you'd be shitting your pants. I know I would be. I mean, it might go up, who knows? But you know what I'm like anyway. I'm not a fan of picking tops and bottoms because I'm shit at it. It's not one of my stronger points, put it that way. So whether that'll hold there, I very much doubt it. No, there you go. So if you'd have think, I mean, it does look like two legs, doesn't it? And let's face it, it's clearly holding price, but at the moment, really the price action's bearish. So that would really, I suppose, be picking a bottom, wouldn't it? Which isn't the most advisable thing to do, in a downtrend. But I bet there'll be people who will take that for sure. But I've just given up. I mean, ordinarily there's a lot of support there. You wouldn't think leg. Clearly a leg and a break and a leg. And it is a second entry long. You'd think maybe it wouldn't be a bad place to take a trade. But obviously the picture's down at the moment. So we sit and we wait. It does still seem like that. We're in a channel at the moment. Let's just bring that down a little bit. Yeah, we seem to be fitting still nicely in that channel there. Touch, touch, close enough, touch. You could adjust that a bit. But we do seem to be liking one channel at the moment on the NQ. So I am still thinking we've still got some more to go. But the NQ, we do seem to be losing some momentum. You know, we're right at the bottom of this channel here. We're coming a little bit further away there, and same there. So this, we may get a bit of a break on this. Managing your emotions will keep your hands clean. You do think traders would have multiple pairs of clean underwear at hand, don't you? I got to say, I mean, I do remember clearly just trading evaluations, and when I was in a trade, I felt like my neck was in a vice. I don't think I've ever felt my neck feeling that stiff and tense that it's uncomfortable. And that was just with an evaluation. Evaluations don't faze me in the slightest at the moment. But it just goes to show how you sort of develop. I mean, it goes without saying, if you do something that has strong emotions every single day, it can't have the same effect. And I've said this before, you jump out of a plane, if you've ever done it, anybody knows if you've ever done it, it's bloody scary. First time you ever jump out of a plane, but you do it every day on and off for a year or two, it can't physically have the same emotional effect. It's impossible. And that goes with trading, which I think is why it's such a long journey. Are you trading NQ2? No, I'm just using it as a bit of a comparison tool. It's definitely helping me make better decisions on the ES, because if it's looking bearish, if I'm looking for a short trade here and it's looking bearish on the NQ, it just, you know, it just gives me that little bit of extra confidence to take a trade. So yeah, more just as I think I've heard it called as an anchor chart. You know, just something just to help bolster that decision making process, and it does help. I got to say, I get more out of the NQ than I did Bookmap. So at the moment, the NQ, we've had that trend, haven't we? And I haven't seen a break out of it apart from now. So if this is starting to look bearish here, and there's a short here, then that, you know, I might be interested in taking that. Bookmap, yeah, too many bubbles. It does look. First time, I mean, my wife came in the room when I had that on, and she went, "What the bloody hell is that? How can you read that?" I felt really cool, actually, and I didn't want to say, well, I can't really. I roughly know what it does, but just roughly. But it looks impressive, put it that way. If you're looking at it and you think, you know, you look like you know what you're doing, then that's impressive. Okay, so there is a second entry short on the NQ. My slight concern is it's too far from the EMA and it's not a fantastic bar, and that looks to me like it may hit it. If we can get a lower high down here, but that, if I was in that trade now, my arse would be twitching a little bit, but it may work its way down. In which case, if we get a nice lower high and we get a lower high there, then I may take a short there, see? But at the moment, it looks like it may stop that out. In which case, that would be no good either. I'd expect that to get stopped out. It does look like it's pushing up, doesn't it? Yeah, okay, so if you took that second entry short, you were naff. And it may just keep you out of that one, because ordinarily, in a downtrend, you might think that might be not a bad trade to take. But it's quite a big bar, and it's about to get stopped out, I think. or flipping close to it. If you get away with that, it's by the skin of your teeth, but there does look like there may be a little bit of a bigger break forming here. What was the risk there? Let's have a look. So, yeah, it's about 3.5 points, I think. Tick above, tick below, but it's not the type. You don't really want to lose that, do you? So I will be surprised if that doesn't get stopped out. This looks like it's about to have a quick push. Yeah, that's going to get stopped out there for sure, isn't it? Yeah. So it's a good it's good to have this because there is a second entry short, but it's not in a great place to take a short, so that would put me off taking that one, and rightly so. So it does save you, you know, because with this big push down, you might be looking for a failed breakout. But it is just it is just a channel with a break, really, isn't it? So it's definitely useful to have this. It's just nice just to have a quick glance at this, and if I'm thinking about going short, does this look, you know, bearish, or does it not? So we've got a little channel there with a break and a new high. If we get a lower high below here, I might take a short there or a lower high there. Because we've had a break and a push up. We're coming back to the EMA, but if we can get a lower high here and I can get a lower high there, anyone else ever have an issue with having to refresh historic data? No, I tend to do it once, mate. My candles are getting off every 10 minutes or so. I refresh them and they look like lances. I don't know, mate. What computer have you got? Have you got a quick system? You know, you've got because I believe it can make a difference. See, look at that. It's come back to the EMA and pushed. So if you'd have taken that one there, after the break and the new high, that may get stopped out. It is frustrating when something in your system's not firing on all cylinders, isn't it? That to me looks like it's going to push above this, which would take out that short there. Let's see. I mean, I think some of it's to do with as well is maybe your internet speed. See, this data's got to come from the servers, wherever they are, I'm assuming in the US somewhere, to my computer, and it's only got to get to your computer a split second later, and they will look slightly different. That's the only conclusion I can come to. I remember a couple of years ago, I did ask Mac the question, and he went, it often happens, just trade the chart as you see it. You know, I don't know the full story, but that to me is about the best conclusion I can come up with, really. So, are we pushing up a bit now? Let's have a look at this. Where are we coming in? Coming down. This is congested, so I can't take nothing here. That short there, if you did take that break and a short, did hold by the skin of your teeth, and you'd have got a couple of points, I think, or close to it. So let's see what happens here. If we can push below there and get a lower high, then I may take a short there. Let's just check there's no... So that bearish bar there is just triggered. Let's have a look at this. I can't see anywhere where there's been a break there. This to me is the first break. So it certainly can come down lower. We know that because of the daily. And I can't see a break at that, so I would probably think that would be more likely to come down. So that may be a second entry long, but it's clearly congested. So it's not safe to do anything there really at the moment. Chad, 6 tilt scaps. 6 tilt scaps? What am I talking about? 6 tick scalp out of that short, yeah. So you didn't get your 6 ticks, did you, until it came down here, so I bet your arse was twitching when it came up. I hate that. I hate it when it comes back like that. And especially when it ends up bullish like that, after you think you're doomed, don't you? If I'd taken that short and that the bar closed like that, I'd be thinking I'm buggered. But it don't feel nice. I get why you took it though. We've got a channel break new high. It's a bearish market for me at the moment. You'd expect it to come down a bit more, but ultimately you never quite know. But it is horrible when it comes back. There's nothing worse than seeing that. But, what can you do? What can you do? Let's see if this continues up. So, a little channel there break. I think we're going to get a new high here. So if you took that short there, I don't know why you would anyway. There's 3 big bars back to back. So we got a channel break, new high. So we just need a new low from this channel. That's if we haven't had a break, which I don't think we have. So if we need a lower high now below there. So that channel's played out. Maybe we're going to trap some more shorts and go up a bit. Let's have a look at this. This is just a little bit sideways here. So if we can get back in the channel and get something, maybe a lower high, then I'd expect it to get down to the bottom. If we're going to get a new low from this, there's a fair distance to go to, certainly enough to get us down the bottom. But at the moment, it may be, we'll see. So if you took the long, you may have got your points. But if you're holding and expecting it to go up further, that does look like it's pushing higher, doesn't it? There's likely going to be some shorts there, although in my opinion it's not the greatest place to go short there, is it, with all that lot? Let's see if it does take out any stops. Just notice my signal bar look better than yours. Yeah, it often does, doesn't it? So reloaded state, and now we have the same. Yeah, I don't know the full story about why it does what it does. The only conclusion I can come to is obviously the data's got to come to different parts of the world. It only takes literally a fraction of a second, to be different. But I don't understand the all reload, and I do it, but I don't exactly know what it does. Reload historic data. What's historic data got to do with what's going on now? Who knows? That's the trouble when you're a retail trader and you've sort of learnt off your own back. We've never really had any sort of formal training. I sent an email to support my issues and had to install new version in Trader. Oh, interesting. I've never used Ninja Trader support as yet. So, what is going on here? So, 2 legs down, not quite 2 legs. Are we going to push up now, or are we going to come down some more? We may be getting some upward stuff. Let's have a look. It certainly could do. If we can get above this, further up, then I'd say we're going to have a bit of a pullback. So if this starts to look very bullish and trap some shorts there, that might not be a bad option to take that. Sort of looks like a bit of a bull flag, doesn't it? We've pushed up, we've bounced multiple times here, haven't we? What version of NinjaTrader you run? Version 8. I didn't upgrade to the latest one, which was a few months ago. I seem to remember maybe a year or so ago, there was a newer version or an update of NinjaTrader come out, and we were told by Apex not to upload it or update it for some reason. So the last update we got, I didn't update it. I just kind of left it. So I did message someone, but I never got anything back. Should I upgrade it or update to the latest one? So I'm not really sure. Perhaps I should try again, actually. But it's just version 8, and I don't know. I don't even know how to find out what version it is. Well, I should find out there, really, shouldn't I? Okay, so we've had a break, and we've had clearly 2 little pushes up. Go to the control center, click help, then about. Control center, help, about. Okay, yeah, excellent. Okay, this is me. Version 8. Is that the same as anybody else's? Version 8.0.26.1. I don't even know how to upgrade, to be fair. Usually it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? You're on a later version, are you? Any idea how to upgrade? It won't be difficult to find out. I'll just go on the website. NinjaTrader website. It's usually pretty straightforward, isn't it? I'll have a look after. You trade with Apex, don't you, Chris? So I just seem to remember a couple of years ago, Apex said not to update for some reason. I don't quite know why. I have no issues with the new one. Okay, yeah, that's good enough for me. Apex as well, yeah, fine. It's always good too, because it does rule out any types of bugs or anything, doesn't it? Right, are we coming down here? I was on the version before I started using Apex. Okay, yeah, I think most people, like I say, pretty sure Robin's been on it for a while, hasn't he? Looks like it fixed a tick counter issue. Okay. Fair enough. I just don't know how it affects. If you have any add-ons, does it do? I don't know. I'll sort it out after. I'll go and have a look. Okay, so let's ditch that. We don't need that at the moment. So are we coming back down to here? This is looking like it's likely to push down. And we've got a leg. If we can get below that lot there, there's going to be some longs there. Unfortunately, we're a bit too far down here, really. There's no real trade there anyway. There's nothing. 2 legs down, so it is still a bit congested here. We get a bearish bar and it triggers and starts to push up, so we need to get below. There we have. Yeah, if this finishes bearish, the trouble is there's nothing on here really, is there? You can't trade that. If this closes bearish, then I think there may be a leg and a leg, a little bit of a pullback, and then down to make the new lows. That would get us comfortably below here. I'd like to have a couple of legs back up to the EMA, really, up to the EMA or the channel, and then maybe a short there. leg and a leg. So possible second entry long. I wouldn't go long at the moment. I don't want it to come down too quick, otherwise we won't get a pullback here. Okay, so that's maybe just what we needed to push lower to eat this measured move out. There is a failure there, but in all fairness, it's just way too far from the EMA for me. It may sting you and stop you out. It's too close to the lows, really. A little bit congested here. Yeah, I still expect that to come down and make a new low. I think that's a fair assumption. We're fitting really nice in there. There's no breaks. That's clearly a break. There's nothing else I can see that would constitute a break, in my opinion. So I think it's fair to say the chance of this coming down, I think, is pretty good. It's just looking for something that looks bearish on here that coincides with something that looks the same here. Maybe a fail break out of this little range, back up to the EMA, something looking bearish on here. I don't mind going short that low, as long as I've got enough to get out. As long as the setup's a decent setup and I've got enough to get out before the lows. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Now go a little bit higher and close. Okay, what's going on here? So we got two little legs here. Is this a break or are we pushing up? So if we get a bearish bar here and then a lower high, I think there's a fair chance that's coming down. As long as it looks as good here. I just don't want it to stop out that. If I stop out that, then I can't see that coming down anymore. Okay, no, wait. certainly tempting to take that, but not what I'm seeing here at the moment, so I'm just going to sit tight there. It's gone a bit naff anyway. Excuse me just for 1 minute. Okay, sorry about that. So we've got a channel down there, break. One attempt to go high if we can get a second attempt further down here. Look at that. Well, that's not what I expected. I wonder if we're doing something like that. Maybe one leg, two legs, and then down. That's possible. Let me just get rid of this. Maybe that big channel down there, one push up, second push up, and then maybe lower. Keep an eye on that. So that didn't trigger anyway, so no one would have got stuck in there, I don't think. Just incidentally, if no one heard earlier, we have got another offer on. I think most of you probably know by now, 80% off, and only 1 day needed. So my code's down there, UKFT, if you want to use it. And if you have used it, it is appreciated. So that finishes this Friday. I'm going to say the last few sales they've had on, it's only lasted 3 or 4 days. So this finishes, so it's today, tomorrow and Friday, midnight Friday. Okay. Not thinking about going short at the moment. This is not giving me this picture is looking more slightly bullish just at the moment. So I'm not thinking about taking anything short there. See what happens there. See if that comes down bearish. Certainly not thinking about taking shorts at the moment. Hard to read today. Yeah, it's a bit, when it's doing this, it's hard to figure out what's going on. It does help having this, because at the moment this is a bit choppy. This is maybe looking a little bit more bullish at the moment, but I still think after that, good channel down there, that I think there's a fair chance we are going to come down. I've said this before, actually. What I've noticed over the last couple of years, a lot of times when we had a break, we'd make a new extreme really quickly. But now, a lot of the time, we'll have maybe a break and a couple of big pushes up, and then we'll slowly work down. We don't tend to have a break and a new low as quick as we used to. I don't quite, whether it's just me or not, I don't quite know why. But this is just not looking bearish just yet. If it starts to work down there, then my thoughts will change on this. Just can't bring myself to take a short there at the moment. It's hard to say. It's okay taking a short below the EMA on here, but if it's clearly quite a bit above the EMA here, then I'd put the above part in the range as well. That bit there. Yeah, I can work with that. That looks all right. Okay, there's a higher low there. Bar's no good anyway. And yeah, you just can't take that at the moment. It might work. The bar's not fantastic. It's certainly more on the bullish side. Obviously, we've come right down here and pushed up. Trouble is, it's choppy, and bars like that are just asking to get trapped, especially at the moment. We got a leg down, maybe a second entry short, may come down here, so I think that is likely to get trapped. Trouble is, there is some support around here. You can clearly see it here, 3 times here, along here, so I don't really want to go short, even if that ends up bearish. I certainly don't want to go short into that. Not that it won't work, it may well do. In fact, it probably will, but at the moment, this is still unclear. So it's just sit and wait, actually. In fact, there may be a second entry long there. That may work back up to here, but I'm just staying out at the moment. It could just go either way, really. Possibly second entry short. Trouble is, at the moment, it's looking like maybe a long here. Let's see what happens. I want it to start working below this before I think about making a new extreme from there. So we got a leg up, maybe 2 legs back and up again. Leg. It's just too dangerous, this. It could do anything. So there is a second entry short there. Trouble is, after this, you don't know whether we're going to have a leg and a leg and then push up. This is starting to look a bit more bearish, so that's a good sign. Let's see what it does here. It could be a leg and a push up, see. Let's see how this finishes. I'm not convinced that's a channel. It might just be a push, break, new high, 2 legs back, another attempt to go higher. See if we can get a lower high here. Trouble is, there's a possible second entry long that could go up. Still might be holding. In which case, leg, and a long. Would I want to take that? Not at the moment. It's quite a big ass bar, isn't it? I just can't do it at the moment. I'd say it's likely to push up, but it's just too rich for my blood. That's 14 ticks, one above, one below. It's a 4-point risk. I ain't doing that. Not when it's like this. It's just too much of a risk, that is. What happened with those? So you'd have got a 1.5 here, I think, if you took that short. Trouble is, it's just congested, isn't it? I mean, it does look like 2 legs. It's not a bad looking bar, that. Trouble is, you just don't know. It's full of traps when it's like this, and it's just, I don't want to risk $400 on that bar. Not a chance. It looked kind of okay there, didn't it? But it's still a bit up and down. Unfortunately, you couldn't really even enter on a limit order because it didn't come back. It's just not clear, is it, really? Leg, 2 legs back, and the leg. Okay, leg, 2 legs, leg. Let's see what happens now. It's possible there may be the start of a channel there. But it's just as much sideways. I mean, it's clearly sort of holding somewhere. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so it may be this channel, leg and a leg, and then down. So let's get this accurate so we know where we are. Okay, so that has made a perfect measured leg, leg, leg. So after this channel now, I can't see a break from there apart from that one leg, two legs. So let's see now if we start to work down. So I'm still not a massive fan of that channel at the moment. It's clearly playing a part, that measured leg, and it's starting to lose momentum. So let's see how we get on there. Doesn't seem to be slowing down, does it? See what happens. How's another go at that line? That doesn't look like a bearish market to me. We've come back close to that midline, then pushed up strong again. That looks to me like something that may continue on. It's hard to say. Maybe we're just testing this, playing this measured move again. Who knows? But I don't know. It just doesn't look like it's slowing down to me. Do I really want to go short at the moment? I was sort of looking for it, thinking we may get something here, but I just don't want to go short. It looks like, we have had 2 legs. But it doesn't mean we're not going to continue up. NQ, yeah, this is the NQ here. What I will say is we've had this big channel down and we've had a break, and a lot of the times we won't just have a little break come down. We've got 2 measured moves. And we're clearly reacting to that line. Trouble is, if we've hit that a few times now, you would think now if after 2 legs were going to come down, this would drop now. And perhaps it is. Yeah, it's 14 points that. A tick above, tick below, 16. It's just too much risk, that is. I ain't taking that much risk. It's very choppy. Would it work? Probably for 2 points, but this came down here with this big bearish bar and then turned and broke higher, so we may just get 2 legs down, so it's just too risky, that is. It's just traps galore at the moment. It just doesn't, to me, look like it's in a rush to come down. It looks like it's starting to almost strengthen. We'll soon find out. But we came up and we had three bars there. We clipped that measured move and then it dropped quickly and you're thinking, okay, down. And all of a sudden, more buyers come in and pushed it even higher. So I'm just, I'm starting to think maybe we are pushing a bit higher. Leg back, leg back. It's just clearly a bit choppy. This does look like 2 legs and maybe a push higher. It's blooming tempting. Leg and a leg. Trouble is.
Order submitted.
Same again, bloody big bar. I'm not risking that.
Order cancelled.
15, 16, 17 points. So it's $425. I'm not risking $425 to go long there. We may come up 1, 2, 3. It might be a triple test and then drops like a bloody stone. So I'm staying out of it at the moment. As tempting as it is, I'm not going long into that lot. There's clearly some support along there. And if you'd have taken that now, you can see this starting to worm down and this. Yeah, it is too choppy. It's too dangerous. This traps galore. Right? The trouble is, when it's like this and it's sideways, it literally goes up, down, up, down, up, down. So you go long up here, comes down. You go short down here, comes up. You go long, comes down. So it's just like that, isn't it, at the moment? What I will say is it's clearly reacting to the measured move. Whether that mean it will come down and make a new low, who knows? But it's clearly choppy now, and I don't want to go long there into that lot. Not on a bar that big. Hell no. Hell no. Doesn't bother me about missing out on a trade now, even if it rockets up. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. If the picture's not right, you can't take it, can you? It's clearly sideways. And not only that, if you do go along there, you're going right in the middle of that lot. Is that the place to go long? Not really, is it? Mac wouldn't take that. So I isn't taking it either. It's push up, chop, push up, chop. I've come a long way since you started. Thanks, mate. In a good way. That's the second time you haven't Took a trade at the bar size. Yeah, I know. I thought that myself, actually. I'll tell you what I'm trying to do at the moment. I've got a little sticker on my cess that says, take a trade, think. So many times with a bar like that, you'll see me just head for that buy button. I'm trying to slow down now. Sometimes you think you've got to jump in there, head first. When if I look at people like Thomas Wade take a trade, he'll still... You never see him do that buy. He'll just get a limit order and he'll just leave it, and if it comes back, it gets him, and if it doesn't, so hopefully, day in, day out, you do it again and again and again. Hopefully the plan is that you improve, but I am trying to slow things down. You guys know how I talk. I'm quite a hyper person, and when you're a bit like me, sometimes you've got a tendency to just jump in sometimes feet first without thinking, have I got a paddle? You know what I mean? Trouble is, if you jump in, don't get me wrong, a lot of times when I do hit the buy button, it does tend to go my way, but the trouble is, you don't know, if we're looking at a bar like that, whether it's going to jump up a point before I manage to trigger that, and you're risking a bit more then. But it's, do you know what I'll find sometimes? Sometimes I'll get into a trade, it'll trigger, stop me out, and then give us a really nice trade. So I tend to think, just sit there a bit longer and patient and you'll get your rewards. But at the moment, this to me is a bull flag, so you would expect it to go up, but it came down. So you just don't know, do you? And my policy is now, well, the one I like to try and follow, if it doesn't look right, just leave it alone. Anybody know how young Moo Moo's doing? I know he's changed his profit a little bit. He did all right yesterday. He's going for more points now. I agree. Well, I certainly agree he should go for more than 1 point. He's just going to cripple himself going for a point. So he's going for more points now. So I think that's a good decision. I think really it's a minimum of 6 ticks now. I go for a straight flat 2 points. I think it works out. It's kind of the sweet spot for me. But I know he's going for 4, 5, 6, 7 points, something like that. It's what I aspire to. I'd like to do that myself at some point. So he's a nice lad, actually. So hopefully he's having an okay day again today. I think he was up $600 yesterday on his account. So good for him. And Sam's back now as well. Good luck to Sam. He's another one of our friends, our trader buddies, 5 trader. He's back with a new PA. He lost another PA last week, so I sent him a nice message. Moo Moo, yeah. I sent Sam a nice message, and I think it lifted him a bit. You need it a bit sometimes, in this business. A little bit of a pep talk, I think, helps. So hopefully he's back with his PA. In fact, that's what I like doing in the evenings when I've had me tea. I sit back and watch the other streamers, see how they got on. It's always nice to see how other traders get on. So hopefully they're both doing all right, because same again, both nice guys. I've only ever had good stuff to say about me. Sam have a YouTube. He does, mate. Yeah, Fife Trader it is. F-I-F-E. Fife Trader. He's from north of here, up from Scotland. Another really nice guy. But I was looking at it. Sometimes when you sit back and you look at other traders, you can pick things where they're going wrong that you can't necessarily see in yourself. And he was taking 5 and 6 trades, which I figured out just doesn't work. So hopefully he'll have a better run of this one. You got him. Did you know his first name? Oh, yeah, Sam, yeah. It's only, I get messages from sometimes, but when you start to get to know someone, first names. But yeah, he's a nice guy, is this? He's a nice guy. He doesn't always. I think I'm not sure what time he's streaming today because he usually works, and I think he usually starts around about the time I finish, around about 5:30 UK time. But sometimes I don't know what he's doing with his job because he's an engineer. He works in the oil business up in Scotland. So I think obviously he tends to work the days, but usually around about 5:30 UK time. There is a failure there. Trouble is, although this, I just don't want to go short at the moment. In all fairness, when we had those two measured moves, I'm thinking we may come down here, but it just doesn't seem to be. You can't really take a trade until we get out of this, really. So it's just going to be sitting and waiting. It's just too dangerous to trade this at the moment. Unless you're trading for a tick or two, then you might go in. I'm still not a massive fan of that. Up, sideways, down. 2 legs up, sideways. Trouble is, this could still push higher. I was surprised after it hit that measured move 3 times that it went back up again. That doesn't show weakness to me, that. Normally a measured move, especially when it starts to lose momentum. The bars are obviously getting smaller and smaller, and you have a big red bar. I thought if we're coming down for a new extreme, we're going to do it from there, but we seem to have another go, so this could continue up. So any shorts like that, I think you're going to get stuffed. It is a failure, and you may be trapping some longs, but surely it's going to get stopped out, that failure. This just looks like to me it's going to push off. It's just come down, isn't it? A little bit sideways, and it does seem to be working, but hopefully no one took that bar anyway. In all fairness, it's not the best looking bearish bar around. Yeah, so if you took that failure, you just got stopped out. It does seem to be slowly working up, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to leave that here just a minute. I'm just going to go and make a quick cup of tea. I'm going to have a quick few minute break. Refresh myself. You don't know, it may hit a point and then just drop. So I'm going to leave that with you a minute. I'm just going to take a quick. I'm just going to take a quick 3 to 5 minutes, make a cup of tea, and I'll be back. Okay. Okay, it does look like we do seem to be. We've had umpteen times to be able to come down. It doesn't seem to be. Okay, I'm just going to shove that up on another screen above my head. Keep an eye on it. So let's just make that a bit darker. Push up sideways. Excuse me a sec. Okay, right, we're out the top of there now. Let's have a look. Where are we? Yeah, we are. Okay, that's interesting. So there's an overshoot on the NQ. Touch, touch, touch. In fact, I can adjust that a bit. Let's put that there. Let's open that up. Touch, 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 touch. Overshoot. So are we now going to come down? A lot of the times we'll do this. We'll pull back a chunk of it. Have you noticed? And then we'll work down. So interesting. Keep an eye on that. So maybe a leg and a leg. Oh, too thick. Can't have that, can we? I'm not sure about that. It's negligible there. It's clear overshoot on the NQ. So let's assume it is there. So tempted to short that. Such a small.
Order submitted.
No.
Order cancelled.
Now, if it ended up 3 ticks, I'd short that just for a point. With it being an overshoot on the NQ, I'd expect that to come down a bit lower. If it was 3 ticks, I'd may have taken that one.
Order submitted. Order cancelled.
Yeah, I did consider scalping that for a point. We've had a bit of an overshoot and a clear overshoot there, so I'd expect that to come down a bit. I don't usually like sort of counter trend trading, but when we've had that and a clear break, we had a clear overshoot there and a nice big bearish bar. You'd expect that to come down to the EMA. So I'd have taken a point there, but I decided not to in the end. If it was a smaller risk. It's two and a quarter points, something like that. High low off the EMA to retest the highs. This to me looks like a small overshoot. I may overlook that, but the NQ looks even more of an overshoot. It actually fits, that channel fits really nice, beautifully. 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and 1, 2, 3, 4 times the bottom. So that to me is an overshoot. So, you know, overshoots can result in a correction or a reversal. So we'll see. So it would have been worth a point. I mean, you'd have got 2 out of it, but I wouldn't risk that. It's a counter trend trade, but I'd at least expect that to come back to the EMA. But yeah, no more of a risk. I Singapore close 1 tick above yours, looking bad. See what happens with this failure. I think there's a good chance we're going to come to the top of this or back to the bottom, or even there is a possibility of coming down and making a new low from this. Who knows? There is a failure there, but it is counter trend trade. I don't mind risking a point back to there, but I ain't taking a failure at the EMA. Although I think it's more likely to come down there. But I'm just staying out of it at the moment. Only because of what I'm seeing on the EMA. On the NQ. And the daily's pointing down. I expected a bit of a pullback, but I think the daily's likely going to end down there, or maybe even a bit lower by the end of close today. I think this will have a drop down to maybe here or maybe even lower. So we'll see. Now let's see a quick drop. Come on, quick drop. I can see a drop straight through here, straight down through the bottom of this channel. Down we come. Come on. Come on. Down we come. Mm. Well, so the chart on the NQ is look like an overshoot in a lot of cases. That will just drop. Maybe that is just a bit like that. Yeah, it's a very choppy day today. Thank you, chart. That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, it definitely helps you. If you're looking for a bullet, the trouble is sometimes you can misread stuff and misjudge stuff. So if you're looking, textbook second entry long on the NQ, yeah, there is. The bit that kept me out of anything at the moment is because I had my chart drawn like that. Touch. So that was an overshoot for me. And obviously when we get an overshoot, in some cases, especially when we saw that bearish bar, I thought it was going to come down. I thought it may trap those longs and drop, which is why I mentioned having a big drop on the on the ES. But you just don't know. That to me, strong push up looked like an overshoot. But then if you open that out, it kind of fits. So it's hard to say sometimes. But Ball says it's going to reverse now by taking out of it. I like one of those. Yeah. because of the overshoot on the NQ, I thought it was going to drop, and obviously this was going to follow it. That's what I thought. We started to have a channel, and I thought we made traps so long there, and it was going to drop. But it just goes to show, just sometimes things aren't as clear. I mean, is it an overshoot on here? It's not a convincing one. It's certainly more convincing on the NQ. But yeah, see, ultimately, but it's one of those days, push up, sideways, push up, sideways, push up, sideways. So it's not what I would call a nice clean. It's certainly cleaner on the NQ. It's certainly a lot clearer, with the exception of how I originally had that, which led me to thinking about the overshoot. In a lot of cases, it'll do that and then drop like a stone. But I just don't know. It's definitely worth having the two together. Put it this way, you know, it just gives you sort of two bites of the apple, if you like. But it's a very choppy day. There's lots of this, you know, push sideways, push sideways. We've got it here, here, here and here, and a little bit here. There it is. Quite a bit of support there. Or resistance, depending on how you look at it. So it'd be interesting to see what happens when we hit that area. Yeah, it's not the easiest of days today, is it? There's nothing I can see that's obvious. That might not have been that bad. Leg up, two legs back. At the time, I never had that drawn, and obviously you just don't know whether we're going sideways, do you? But in hindsight, it wasn't a bad trade. It was just a bloody big bar, which is why I stayed out of it, because I'm still... It's up, down, it's still choppy, so when it's choppy, I don't really want to risk that much. I mean, the ATR is relatively low, but that bar itself was about, yeah, it was certainly 4 points. It's just too much. I don't want to risk $400 per account, $800 just to get half of that. It's just not worth it. But obviously now you can obviously sometimes when you adjust it and you can see the bigger picture, it didn't look bad. But it is still choppy, so just because it's choppying up doesn't necessarily make, you know, make it an easier day to trade. So we've got a channel down there, we've got a break, lower high possibly. It may come down here and break this area here, but It is sideways, but it's definitely sideways with a little bit of an upward. In which case I'll leave that, because it is sort of counter trend trading really, as much as I think it's likely to come down and give you a point or two. We're right at the top on the NQ, so obviously when it gets to the top, we'll be due a leg down, but trouble is there's push up and sideways, so we're pushing up, so we could continue to go sideways there, so a short trade wouldn't be the best option. Possibly a second entry long, but no, I can't do that. Not this high. We're right at the top on the NQ, so is that going to go much higher before we get a pull back to the EMA? I wouldn't have said so. Maybe we have a leg and a leg. Excuse me a second, I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Okay. I'm still a bit nervous at going long at the moment. This just... whether this is an overshoot or not, a lot of times I've noticed when we get an overshoot, we will push up and make a new high and then drop really quickly. So I'm just a bit unsure that this is just going to tank. I wouldn't be shocked at all if we get a big drop here, which is making me a little bit nervous about maybe going long with a second entry long. We've hit a point there, and we've hit it 3 times there. So I don't know. I think this is asking for a big drop. I might be completely wrong, but so we've been up here once. Let's get rid of this. This is the 3rd time, isn't it? Once, 3 times there. It's definitely finding a bit of a ceiling. And we're right at the top corner of the NQ. I just can't see that continuing. We had a big move there, 2 legs back, a smaller move there, 1 leg back, and an even smaller move. So surely it's got to be running out of steam here for a pullback to here. You'd have thought so. That's my feelings anyway. And while I've got that in my head, although we are slowly working up, there's nothing I'm interested in taking long at the moment. We're testing this area 3 times clearly. It is a second entry short. I'm just staying out at the moment. It is still sideways and choppy, and we are still continuing to make lower, sort of higher lows. So, not seeing anything so far. Taking the rest of the day off. Yeah, I'm not going to be far behind you, mate. I think another 10 minutes. If I don't see anything exciting, I'm going to knock it on the head today. Might be one of those days. We do get these days, don't we, where we push sideways, and we clearly done it 3 times there, up sideways, and same here. And then it's usually here, followed by a drop, same again, followed by a drop. So I can see a drop coming. And we're right at the top of the NQ as well at this channel. So 2 legs. I can see a drop coming. Not that it's makes me think about taking a short, because we're still sort of working up in a fashion. So some days it's just, you might as well just finish early. But it's clearly finding some resistance there. There's no argument. Never bothers me now, walking away without a trade. Doesn't bother me in the slightest anymore. I used to find maybe a year or so ago, as I got through the day, my patience got worse and worse. Doesn't seem to affect my patience at the moment. I'm quite happy sitting back waiting for the longer I used to sit here, the more my patience used to go. And I don't know how many times I sat here for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and the last 5 minutes took a stupid trade and ended up losing. So it didn't bother me in the slightest now. You just turn up, do your stuff, and away you go. You done, are you, bud? All the best. Struggling today, but here a tiny bit. Cheers. Yeah, you take it easy, Chris. But yeah, it doesn't bother me missing a trade there, not in the slightest. If I turn up, my job to turn up, not to think about making money. It's my job to turn up, watch the charts, and find a good entry, take it, commit, and that's it. So the money really is just a byproduct, and that's the way I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to forget trying to earn money and working. I mean, I used to sit here not so long ago and work out this, work out that. Christ, I used to spend it before I even bloody earned it. But I just don't bother anymore. You can't fight the market. You can't battle with the market. You just have to sit here patiently, and when the market drops something in your lap, pick it up and run with it. That's all you can do. It's just, well, that's the way I'm feeling at the moment. I never say never, because, sometimes in the past I've come back to the chart after losing and thinking, yeah, I feel better this time. And But what I will say is that break, that good 10 days off completely at Christmas, really refreshed me. And I did a bit of psychology when I was off, and I do feel like I've come back with a better attitude towards it. I think a clear attitude. Yeah, very patient, and I could take a tray and lose it. Yeah, I know what you mean. But they get very aggressive. Your emotions are you? Yeah, they certainly are, mate. I've got to say, it's like, I don't know if you guys smoke. I've never smoked. I did a little bit when I was younger, but more or less when I had a beer. But it's easy to say I'm going to give something up when it's in your hand and you're smoking it or you're eating it. And same with trading. You know, it's easy to say that's it from now on. You know, if I get a loss, I'm not going to let it affect me. And then when you get a loss, those emotions kick in. So I'm just trying to focus on not just worrying about if I get a loss. At the end of the day, I can consider, I can sit here again and again, month after month, taking stupid risks and blowing accounts when I lose a trade, or I can just let it go. Just come back tomorrow. Take it, you know what I mean? And you've just got to keep coming back positive with hopefully a fresh set of eyes, and you know, and away you go. And that's just what I try to do, and hopefully the next time I take a loss, it doesn't hurt quite as much. And I don't see how it can again and again. I don't see how the pain can get worse. It can only get better, because when you're doing the same thing, as I mentioned, you're doing the same thing every day, those emotions cannot affect you exactly the same way. So, you know, it's just hopefully you can stick it out long enough to get to the stage where it doesn't have quite an effect on you. So, in fact, I'm going to knock on the head myself, actually. It's gone really slow. It's up sideways. It's not the greatest trading day today. It may improve later on. But I do think we're in line for a quick drop. I mean, we're clearly finding some resistance here. There's no argument there. We're right at the top of the channel on the NQ. So for me, the only way is down at the moment. But the trouble is, you've got to wait for it to come down here. Well, that could take another 20 minutes. So I'm going to knock it on the head today and go and have an early dinner. And I'll come back tomorrow. But not the easiest of days today. Not a huge amount of setups. So that's the only one I can probably see. Just has it really? I did have a look at that, but must have missed it. Let's have a look. Yeah. You're on about the 50%. Depends where you look from, doesn't it? But we're not far away. It's got to come down, hasn't it? I mean, look at this. We're struggling to get up. And we're right at the top here, really. The only way is down at the moment, isn't it? You would have thought. But the trouble is, we're in a bit of an uptrend, so taking a short is a bit counter-trend, because, you know, when I thought we'd had the overshoot here, I didn't think it could go up anymore. I thought that was going to drop like a stone, but look, you just carry on going. So sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. You know, you can have all the ideas under the sun, what's going on. Sometimes it just continues to go on up. I mean, look at that. That looks like a bull flag. Push up, one attempt to go lower, second attempt to go lower, higher low, but do you really want to go long into that lot? It does look like it's trapping longs. Now, it may work and it may just rocket it up. We might come back and there might be another 10 points added to it in 10 minutes. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. You caught me on a good day. So yeah, it's just not worth going along into that, having the patience, you know, of a saint back here, and then all of a sudden. But there you go. It's the first day I haven't had a trade for a while, so I've got no problem with that. It's going to happen from time to time. It's been a 1 or 2 trades a day for me, which is kind of where I like to be. It's a good number, I think. 1 or 2 trades a day. If you can get 2 winners, get yourself off and enjoy yourself. That's what I try and do anyway. Have you noticed I am trading a little bit less? Where are we now? 2.25 hours. I'm just trying to separate work and trading from free time, so it's not, you know, the be all and end all trading. You've got to have a break from it from time to time. So that's me done for the day. So Thursday tomorrow will soon be at the end of another week. We'll be in February before you know it. So that's it from me. So I hope something happens, and I hope you get us set up, because it's just quiet, isn't it, at the moment? So, but that's it. So, save my chart. First 24th. And that is the yes. Excellent. So that's it. Me done for another day. No trades today. No issues with that at all. So I hope something happens for you. But failing that, I will see you tomorrow. So have a great day. Stay safe, and we will chat same time tomorrow.